Very interesting case to share with you today, as well as some highlighting a new technology. Once again, we got some new technology for you. I'd like to share this patient with you, a patient we've been following for several weeks right now. This is how his digit looks at this point, diabetic foot ulcer. And I'm going to show you some photos now from his initial consultation. If you look very closely at the center of the wound, you'll see that when I would flex this digit before, he would open up into the joint space, and I think I'm going to show you a photo of that as well. What we were able to do is revascularize him. He had some pretty significant peripheral arterial disease, and then we did a series of hyperbaric treatments. I then went and I debrided that bone, and we've allowed it to fuse and granulate over, as you'll see here. He's making beautiful progress. We see no ischemia of the digit, no real significant inflammatory change at all, as you would suspect. I think we've got a good healing of that exposed bone and what would essentially qualify as a Wagner 3 diabetic foot ulcer. But now we want to close this. It's granulated, it's doing well, we've stopped his hyperbaric. We're following him from a wound care standpoint. Now I want to heal this wound. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to clean it up with some ultrasonic technology, and then we're going to graft it with a new dehydrated amniotic chorionic graft, and we're going to show you how that works for a patient like this. So let's start off with some ultrasonic debridement. As most of you are aware, I am very fond of the Arabella technology. We use this ultrasonic debridement device exclusively in our clinics here at AZH. Here you see the Arabella Probe. It is a curette type of probe, and you'll notice that the coupling agent that carries the ultrasonic energy is coming out of the center of that curette, and that's what I like. It gives you a very focused energy right across the surface of the wound. These debridements can take place very quickly in a matter of a few minutes. And we're doing a couple things. As you'll notice, I'm moving the curette very gently across the surface of the wound, not really doing a lot of aggressive debridement. I'm using the ultrasonic energy to dislodge fibrin, slough from the wound. You're seeing a little of that happening right there. But it's important to use this in the proper technique. You sonicate the tissues like I am right now, using the energy to break up the non-viable tissue. Then after I've sonicated the area, we'll come back with the edge of the curette and just gently scrape the wound. The acoustic energy also allows cavitation, which is a property of ultrasonic treatment. The cavitation is an effect that you can't necessarily see taking place, but what happens is the ultrasound through the coupling solution develops micro bubbles, and these carry the energy. When they hit the tissues, they actually implode and release the ultrasonic energy. And during that cavitation process, bacteria that are living on the wound and in the subdermal tissue planes don't tolerate that energy release of the cavitation very well, and they actually are killed. They're killed through the lysis of the cell membrane. And we get a very nice antimicrobial effect when we use ultrasound. And Arabella does a great job of not only cleaning the wound, but allowing the cavitation to take place, and provides a very nice clean surface for our grafting. It's our protocol here at AZH Wound Centers to essentially perform ultrasonic debridement prior to any type of grafting. The other thing I'm going to show you is that I always not only ultrasound the wound, but I treat the peri-wound. I think we forget this very often in wound care treatments, to not treat the peri-wound. The peri-wound is colonized with bacteria as well, and we want to clean that up. So certainly when I do ultrasonic debridements, I'll take that probe and clean the peri-wound margins as well. So we've got a very nice healthy wound base there. We'll bring our attention back to this in a few minutes when we do our grafting. So next we'll turn our attention to the graft. Again, this is a dehydrated amniotic chorionic membrane made by Tides Medical. It's called Artisan Wound. There you see the membrane right there, which is going to be totally sufficient for placement over. This is a 2x2 wound graft. We'll take this graft out of the packing Again, it is packaged sterilely. In these grafts, you're not worried about a surface up or down, which is nice. And as I mentioned to you, this graft is a little large, so we're going to cut a little piece off. We'll save that. If you're putting these on a dry wound, you want to hydrate them first. However, in this case, applying it dry is totally fine, because the moisture of the wound surface will moisten the graft nicely. A little bit of overlap of the graft. When you're grafting, again, considerations are moisture. We want that graft well approximated with the wound surface. We're going to go ahead and apply a secondary dressing. That'll stay on for several days. We'll see the patient back next week, and we will share our findings at that time. So I hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Wound Care Window and our introduction to some new technology, the Artisan Graft, the dehydrated amniotic coronary grafting material, the ultrasound debridement Arabella are one of our favorite devices, and this follow-up on a patient that has been managed quite successfully, one that otherwise would have had a toe amputation with aggressive wound care and adjunctive hyperbaric following an aggressive revascularization. Again, thanks for joining us on the Wound Care Window.